MC Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in to the Ticket Weeknights. I am Carter Longy, joined here today by Harrison Arns. We're going to be hanging out with you guys for about an hour here, talking pretty much anything. We're going to start with some NBA, maybe talk a little bit about the NFL draft. I know that's a while ago now, but neither of us have been on air lately, so we'll take the opportunity while we have to discuss a little bit, and then we'll round things out with some Husker Athletics, as always. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to text in at any time during today's show, 402-464-5685 is the Starter Heyman text line. You can also call in on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, same number, 402-464-5685. We're also streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter now. So if you'd like to tune in and watch us there, you can go ahead and do that as well. So however you choose to tune in, we're glad to have you, and feel free to chime in during today's show. Harrison, it's been a couple days. I've been out with some illness. So how have you been?
Yeah, it's been doing good. It was a good way to get thrown in the fire and figure out how to run the board and everything. So I don't know if you catched Riff and Rap yesterday. Few technical difficulties, but we'll bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. The first couple times I ran it by myself, there was some technical difficulties as well. Was somebody trying to stream in? Usually that kind of
the StreamYard got me.
That'll cause you some issues when you're still a little green on that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it happens. So work through it, and that's what matters. And now we get to talk on the radio. So first things first, we'll start off with the NBA playoffs. That's kind of our main thing right now, because that's the kind of the big thing going on. I know it's NHL playoffs as well, but if I'm being completely honest, I'm not a real big NHL guy, and I don't really know enough about it to talk about it. So we'll probably stay away from that. Baseball, of course, has gotten kicked off. Regular season's underway. So, I mean, there's that going on as well. And then the NFL draft just wrapped up. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But we'll start with the NBA playoffs. First things first, we'll just kind of go through each series, discuss them a little bit, because second round has started now. I don't think either of us have been on since the first round even ended. So,
last time we were on air, I think T-Wolves and Grizzlies were still in like game 5. So it's been, we haven't covered any of it since then.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So we can definitely go through and kind of recap games 1 and 2 of all the second round series, because that's where we're at so far. And there's no games tonight, so you can't quite tune into the NBA tonight, but we can preview game 3s a little bit for coming up on Friday and Saturday. So we'll start off with the Miami Heat and the Philadelphia 76ers. Miami's the number 1 seed, Philadelphia the 4. Coming into the series, Joel Embiid has been banged up, so that hasn't helped the Sixers at all. Game 1, Tyler Hero had a big game. He's been recently awarded the Sixth Man of the Year, so congrats to him on that. Heat won that one 106-92. Game 2, we saw the Heat win again, 119-103. Sixers weren't really able to compete much in that one. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo combined for 45 points, 15 rebounds, and 15 assists in that one. So the Heat's 2 All-Stars really went to work there. And game 3, Friday night, 7 p.m., Embiid may be back 4-3. Not quite sure on that, but probably 4 at the latest. So Harrison, now that we've kind of laid it out, what have been your thoughts on the Heat-Sixers series so far?
The biggest thing for me, James Harden has just been really disappointing to watch. He's doing okay. He's getting assists. I mean, he's playing like a good player, but he's getting paid to be, a leader on that team. And Joel Embiid was out the other game. You thought, we'll see James Harden step up, make some bigger plays, and just nothing was really happening. He just never asserted his dominance, and everyone's just kind of begging to see it. He's getting that playoff kind of baggage going on him for how many years in a row now, and he just, for whatever reason, he just can't lead that team in a playoff series. So I like the Heat in this one. I think they're just way too deep. Even when Butler was out that one game, they had no problem. So I think the Heat are really deep. Tyler Hero's been playing good. I can't see a way for the 76ers to get back. Even if Embiid does find a way out back on the court, I still think the Heat are just too good for that team.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely sweep potential here, without a doubt. I mean, it's 2-0. Embiid could still be out for game 3. We don't really know. You'd think he'd be back for 4, but we'll have to see. And yeah, you're right. James Harden, I mean, I don't really know why he continues to struggle in the playoffs so much.
It's so frustrating. Like, you just love watching that guy. And it's like same thing at the Rockets when they were always so close and you're just waiting for him to take over. Never happens. It's just like James Harden, he's just one of the more frustrating players to watch in the NBA right now. So yeah, like I said, I just don't see it happening for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who just a few years ago, I guess it's been about 5 now, he was an MVP, and he's a perennial All-Star. He was a perennial All-NBA first, second teamer there for a while as well, and he was thought of as probably a top 8 player in the NBA, and lately he just hasn't had it. I mean, he's never really had it in the playoffs, but
no.
I mean, just even now, it's almost he's almost gotten probably 2 point guardish for what the Sixers need him to be right now with Embiid out. I think if I'm the Sixers, I probably want the old Harden right now, just the guy who's going to go out there and give you 40.
Yeah,
because that's what they need right now.
Yeah, they just need something like that. Because like even though if that's the case, like his shooting's just down. Like his stats over when he was on Brooklyn for those few games he did play when he was quote unquote trying to get his way out. Like his stats were better there than the ones been on the 76ers from the regular season and into the playoffs. So I don't know what's going on with him. If he just like it could just be a head case thing too. It's so hard to tell. Like maybe it really is just getting into his head.
Yeah, because I mean, back a few years ago, people thought the main reason that he struggled in the playoffs was because he just didn't have the half court game. But I don't really think that's the case anymore. I don't think you can really make that argument. I think that he's shown that he has the half court game. It's just there's something else there that just doesn't allow him to perform in the playoffs, and it's really quite odd if we're being honest. But on the other side of the ball, Tyler Hero is a rising star, and he's been super fun to watch this series. So
yeah, he's been electric on the 3-point line too. Like he's added so much. Like when he first came in, I think we all kind of thought it's like, oh, he's gonna kind of be like Robinson, just kind of space the floor in threes. But like he's added a lot to his game. He can get to the rim. He's got pretty good handles. They're not elite, but they're good enough to where he can get to the rim and he can still kick out. And because he's such a threat from deep, he can like easily blow by defenders as soon as they close out on him. So super impressive. Like he had more minutes than probably any other 6-man, quote unquote. But yeah, I mean, he deserves a reward. I think that was a good choice for it.
Yeah, I mean, he made the statement a while ago when he said that he thought he was in the Doncic Trae Young conversation. People kind of laughed at it, but you look at the stats and he stacks up pretty well. I mean, I think he shoots at a better clip than both of them right now, and he's not averaging much less in terms of points per game, and that's in less minutes, of course, too. I mean, yeah, he plays a lot for his 6th man, but still not star.
Yeah, he's not seeing the double teams either coming at him. Not quite yet.
That's true.
So he's got one-on-one matchups. So until he gets that pressure like the superstars, he's not there yet.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't quite put him in that conversation yet. But I do want to make the point that he has statistically kind of lived up to it, and I think it's not worth people kind of laughing at anymore, because for a while people made a lot of jokes about Tyler Hero, thought that he was overhyped, but I think that he's kind of earned some of the hype at this point. So looking forward to Game 3 Friday night, 7 p.m. Embiid coming back will be a big deal if he's able to come back, and we'll see what happens in the series. But I don't really see the Sixers getting more than a game. So
yep, I'm kind of right there. I think they'll probably sneak one in there, but otherwise, I mean, if the Heat get bored, maybe they'll get one. But yeah, I'm saying it's probably 4-1 series.
So the more exciting series in the East goes for the West as well, is the 2-3 matchup. We got the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. Celtics, of course, took easy work of the Nets, which surprised a lot of people. And the Bucks, of course, not took care of their first round matchup, and everybody kind of expected that to happen. I don't think anybody really expected the Bucks to struggle much in the first round. But Game 1, the Bucks won 101-89, and a lot of people started to question, did we overhype the Celtics too much just because they took care of the Nets so easily? Were the Nets just that bad that it made the Celtics look better? But the Celtics answered those questions in Game 2. They won 109-86, so 2 pretty lopsided matchups so far in this one. In Game 2, Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum combined for 59, and the Bucks shot just 3 of 18 from the 3-point line. So the Bucks struggling on offense. I know Giannis is shooting at some pretty low clips. I know he's still averaging a fairly good stat line, but when you look deeper into it, he's not shooting super efficient from the field. His free throw percentage is back down again, and I think the physicality is starting to get to him a little bit.
Yeah, they're definitely implementing just wall him up, and I don't think we'll be curious to see what the Bucks do, because their whole thing too on defense is the Bucks are just going to basically give you 3-pointers, and that's what the Celtics were getting that Game 2. And Bud's always kind of been resilient to switch up his coaching scheme mid-game, so they're just getting lit up from 3. I mean, it's bad when Al Horford's looking like a confident shooter just easily, so they got to probably switch up the game plan. Just can't give up that many threes. That's kind of their MO, is to just give up threes. I know like the Bulls were atrocious from 3, and they broke a record for their franchise for most threes missed in a playoff series. Well, that's because that's what the Bucks were giving them. So it'll be curious to see how they change that. But I still like Giannis coming back. I think he'll probably bounce back. He'll find a way. He's always been pretty creative in the playoffs. I don't think he's a guy that just settles for bad shots. He might get a little flustered, but you give him time. He's proven in the past that he can figure it out on the fly. So I'm not feeling too shaken up by it. I still think the Bucks will probably turn around, maybe like a game 6, game 7. It's going to be tight either way, but I still like the Bucks.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good series, and I still like the Bucks as well. I mean, in my personal opinion, and I think most people's opinion, Giannis is the best player in the NBA right now, and it's pretty hard for a guy like that to get denied in the second round very often. I mean, look at LeBron. Not that Giannis is LeBron. Not sure he ever will be, but when he was still dominating the East, a few years back, it's just he just didn't lose in the early rounds. He just kind of ran through. And granted, the East is a little bit more balanced now than it was when LeBron was in there, but I just don't really see Giannis going down without a fight. Would say though, this is one of the tougher tests that he has faced in the playoffs. I think back to that Raptors series when Kawhi was there, and they kind of did the same strategy. They kind of walled up, just didn't let him in the lane. Very physical, and then of course they had Kawhi, who was arguably the best defender in the league. So it's going to be a tough series for the Bucks, but I would still expect them to pull it out as well. Game 3 for that game, Saturday afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Marcus Smart, who hasn't been playing, sees us. He was quoted as saying strong likelihood that he'll play in Game 3. He's been dealing with a thigh injury, so we'll see if Marcus Smart plays. That would definitely make a difference as well because he's a fantastic defender. So that's something to keep an eye on for that series as well. Moving to the Western Conference here, we got the Suns and the Mavericks, and really both conferences are kind of mirroring each other right now. The 1 versus 4 matchups have been very lopsided for the most part, and the 2 versus 3 have been very good. Game 1 for the Suns and Mavericks was a 121-114 ball game. Luka scored 45 points. I think he had like 7 and 5 or something like that as well, and it wasn't enough to get the job done. Still ended up losing by 7, obviously. And then game 2, the Suns were comfortable for most of the game. The Mavericks made a push, got it within 5, I think, and then CP3 led a fourth quarter kind of run to break the game open. Ended up winning by 20. So game 3 for that one was Friday night at 9:30 p.m. I don't really expect a whole lot to change in this series. I mean, Luka's going to do Luka, but I just don't know if he's going to get enough help here.
Yeah, it's one thing to watch in that series too is the Phoenix Suns. They're actually targeting Luka on just about every possession. You saw it a lot in that when the Mavericks started kind of making their push in that game 2. So in that third quarter, they really just every time they try to get Chris Paul or Devin Booker on a switch with Luka, and they're kind of letting him get his on offense, but defensively, I think they know that he's getting worn out because they were getting whatever they wanted on him, and he was just getting blown by over and over. So either Luka is going to have to step up defensively because that's really the only way. Otherwise, I don't know how you're just going to have to refuse to switch those screens and just stay on your guy. But right now, they're just getting killed on that. So I like the Suns. I just don't see anyone outside of Luka that's good enough to help that team out. And then you look at that Suns roster and they're loaded, and DeAndre Ayton's posing a completely different problem than what Rudy Gobert was doing. So right now, they don't seem to have a lot of answers. It's just looking really bleak for him.
Yeah, when you got a strong big man like DeAndre Ayton, and the Mavs just don't have a lot of effective size. And then also there's the fact too that Jalen Brunson was the hero in round 1 when Luka was out, and he kind of come back down to earth here, kind of different from somebody like Jordan Poole, who we saw come out hot and stay hot. Jalen Brunson, everybody kind of thought, oh, here's Jalen Brunson. Is we going to see another kind of meteoric rise here in the playoffs, as we see with guys a lot. They kind of break out in the playoffs and then never look back. But there are also those guys who have some big performances early on, and then they kind of come back to earth. So, yeah, I mean, Luka can't do it all on his own. It's just, a proven fact. I mean, we've seen this for years with the Mavericks. I mean, ever since Luka got drafted, I know it hasn't been a long time, but especially like, when Chris Porzingis is there and stuff like that, it was just Luka versus the other team, and it just doesn't work. And like you said, too, Luka, while he's one of the best offensive players in the league, he might be the most gifted offensive player in the league. I mean, you can make a very strong argument for that. He's not a great defender, and so when he's get targeted a lot by some good guards like Chris Paul and Devin Booker, I mean, that's just going to wear him out more, takes away from his offense.
Getting blown by a lot. I mean, his feet just aren't quick enough yet on that. His lateral quickness, like I think on offense he can get away with it because his lack of athleticism, because he's just shifty enough. But on defense, that stuff gets exposed pretty quick. There's really no, way to get shifty unless you're talking about getting steals. But yeah, he's just not good enough there yet. He's either going to have to pick it up intensely and give a lot of effort on that end, probably lose a little bit of offensive production, but maybe some of those other guys can step up. But yeah, it's going to be a tough series. I think the Suns honestly can probably get a sweep on them.
I can see the sweep coming as well. You never know. I mean, I would like to say, maybe Luka has a big game and they steal one, but I mean, Luka already had a huge game in game 1, and they still couldn't get it done. So it's going to be tough to see the Mavericks get in a game here. If they do get one, it's max 1. I mean, this game is not going past 5, and I doubt it goes past 4. Again, if you want, kind of chime in with me and Harrison about what we're talking about tonight, 402-464-5685 is the Starter Haven text line. Feel free to let us know about anything that we're talking about. We're talking NBA playoffs. We'll talk some NFL draft, a little bit of Husker stuff, all that good stuff. Rounding things out, though, here with the playoff matchups, the most exciting series of all, I think we probably saved the best for last year in terms of excitement and competitiveness. It was the one that most people looked forward to all regular season long as we started this to see the seedings matchup. Number 2, Memphis Grizzlies versus number 3, Golden State Warriors. We got Ja and the young guns going against the veterans of the Warriors, plus a couple of young guys that have been stepping up recently. Game 1, the Warriors squeaked it out 117-116. Game 2 was another very close game. The Grizzlies won by 5, but I mean, there's some free throws and stuff at the end as well. 106-101. Ja had a playoff career high 47 in Game 2. So he's been playing out of his mind. He's a phenomenal player. And the Warriors took a big blow here in the series with Gary Payton II. I feel like that's kind of, some people have been kind of undervaluing that. I think they don't realize how good of a job he was doing on Ja in the series. When he was guarding him, John Morant was having a much more difficult time scoring than, when Jordan Poole or, Steph or Clay, whoever ended up on him, was guarding him, Wiggins. Gary Payton was doing a great job. And in Game 2, we saw a pretty dirty play. Dylan Brooks pretty much just tackled him when he was going up for a layup. And flagrant 2, he got thrown out of the game. He's going to be suspended for Game 3 as well, which is Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. So that was really unfortunate. We've also had some Draymond drama, as we can always count on to have. He was fined $25,000 for flipping the fans the bird in Memphis. So this is an exciting series. I think it's going to go the distance, and I'm very excited to watch it.
Yeah, this one's probably like going to be the chippiest series. They already kind of got some bad blood going. And yeah, I guess I kind of want to ask you, like, how do you feel about that Dylan Brooks foul? Do you feel like that was a good thing, just get him ejected right away? And
I mean, yeah, especially when for what Draymond was ejected for the game before that. I mean, it was no question that Dylan Brooks was gone in that one.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It was funny seeing some of the Twitter reactions, but yeah, no, I think this game, this is going to be another just really good series out here in the West. I really don't know who I think is going to win this one. I want to lean Grizzlies, that just because they just seem like crazy young and athletic, and they're just so deep. And I'm really curious, like you said, that Peyton going out, that was huge for him, because John Morant is just a blur on offense, and there's not a lot of guys that can keep up with that speed and athleticism. And I mean, he's not the tallest guy on the court, but when he jumps in the air, he is. So he's just a hard guy to stop. And there's just so many guys. Like if Jarrett Jackson can stay out of foul trouble, he usually makes pretty big impact on the game as well. So it might go to Game 7, but like we just saw the first 2 games. I mean, these are going to be all close. There's probably not going to be any blowouts in this one. I mean, what was it? 6 points between the 2 games and the wins losses. So yeah, I think it'll be just a drawn out series. I'm going to go Grizzlies though, upset the Warriors.
I'm going to lean the other way. I also think it's going to go probably 7 games. Going to be a great series. I'm going to lean Warriors though, just because they got the veteran experience. I mean, Curry and Thompson, Draymond, they've been there before. They know what they're doing. They know how to close the team out. And I think it's also worth noting too that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that the trio of Curry, Thompson, and Poole have shot particularly well in the series so far. I know Thompson especially hasn't.
Yeah, they haven't been super great. I mean, I don't want to give the numbers. I don't want to spot them wrong, but it's been below average for their standard by any means.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact that the Warriors have kept the games that close without those guys, playing at least to their averages, I guess. And I know I'm pretty sure as a trio, they've been a little below average, but I know Klay Thompson in particular has really struggled with shooting, even dating back to last series a little bit. So I think the Warriors, once they kind of get the shooting woes figured out a little bit here, and they're heading back to Golden State, they already did their job of stealing one in Memphis. So, I'm not going to say they're going to win both in Golden State and go up 3-1. Not going to say that's going to happen, but at the same time, I just have more confidence in the Warriors to eventually pull this out, especially since they were able to get that first road game out of the way. But yeah, so that's going to be a fantastic series to keep an eye on. Another reminder, Dylan Brooks out for Game 3, flagrant 2 on Gary Payton II. And by the way, we should mention the reason Gary Payton II is out is a fractured elbow. So he's going to be done for at least a little while. I'm not really sure what the timetable is on that. I don't know if they released one.
I don't know. The way it looks pretty bad. So I definitely not this series, I wouldn't imagine. I wonder if it could even be like the entire playoffs. It just depends how bad it looks. But on TV, I mean, you could see it right away. The way he landed on it was it looked bad. So, yeah, I'm not sure, but he definitely not this series.
Yeah. So that's kind of all the matchups that we got going. We'll keep an eye on it. Kind of gave you our predictions a little bit for what we expect to happen. Obviously, those could change as things go on, but we'll kind of ride with that as we go. So 2 more NBA topics that I actually want to hit here, though, before we get going. One, we got some more Ben Simmons news. Ben Simmons will require 3 to 4 months of rehab after he had back surgery to address the pain located in a herniated disc in his lower back. I mean, the saga goes on. I know we've talked about it a decent amount here about the Ben Simmons thing, but I mean, it's just ridiculous. I know this time it's like surgery, like you got to get it done if there's that much pain, but I don't know. Do we think that? So maybe it really was the back the whole time, and he really couldn't play, or
yeah, I don't. This thing is getting perplexing because you'd have to be a maniac to opt in for back surgery, just to get the opinion of the public on your side. So that's the only thing that's kind of shaking me up now. It's like, okay, would he really lie about back surgery? I mean, that's pretty invasive. There's a lot of things that can happen when you're dealing with a herniated disc. So I don't know. It's just he always been on the court all game, and then that last game he didn't show up, and now it's his back. So it was stress induced. I guess maybe he really did fall. Like that's the thing. Like no one knows. Like if he fell, if he got in an accident, but now he's got a herniated disc that seemed to kind of come out of nowhere. So I have no idea anymore. I really would hit the bash on a guy if his back actually is hurt. And maybe that's the reason he's been so timid of getting back on the court, because he just doesn't feel right and he doesn't want to tell the media that. But right now, I don't think anyone knows. And if they say they know, they're probably lying to you, because this is just getting crazier by every month. So I really got no idea at this point.
Yeah, Ben Simmons is and probably will continue to be the biggest mystery in the NBA and probably in sports right now. I have no idea what's going on with him or his body or his mind. Yeah, it's you put it perfectly. It's perplexing.
Yeah.
There's really use a big word situation. This is just odd. So
yeah, I might be like freaking out, but something like I even thought the other day, and I was like, is there a chance that I might never see Ben Simmons on the NBA court again?
Yeah,
because I have no idea. Like it's like he doesn't even want to play the game anymore.
No, it's
but maybe it's his back, so I don't know. It's probably a long shot. We'll probably see him again, but it's getting to the points where I'm like even starting to question that. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
No, yeah, it's without a doubt odd. And last thing here, I saw some people were debating this on some of the TV shows and on Twitter a little bit. I know it was talked about a while ago, and it kind of just came back up again. So here's I'm going to ask you this, and I'll ask all the listeners as well. If you want to text in 402-464-5685. If you're the Lakers, would you trade Anthony Davis or LeBron if you had to trade one?
Oh man, I would actually look to move Anthony Davis just because, like, if I'm looking at LeBron and AD, I feel like if I get rid of LeBron, I don't know if there's like with that contract, like what the return you're going to get in is going to be probably hard to get like a max guy for LeBron at this point. There's probably someone out there, but I'd rather get rid of AD just because AD's injuries are just every year. He just can't ever depend on it. You just have no idea. So, and I don't think it's even a health thing because he seems to be in shape, but he never seems like out of shape in the league. So when people say, well, he's got to work harder in the gym, I think he's just a tall dude that has a lot of pressure on his body. So I'd probably look to move AD if I was going in that direction just because of the injuries. But yeah, I'd have to see what I'd get back in return. You'd have to get a pretty solid package back.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I mean, listen, LeBron's older, obviously, and if you want to look at it in the way that you get more years out of AD, sure. But I feel like the quote-unquote years that you're going to get out of AD are not going to equate to – you could probably still get 2 pretty solid years out of LeBron. Mm-hmm. And if you get some good return from AD, I feel like LeBron's an easy guy to build around if you just do it right. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty embarrassing that the Lakers have been as bad as they are because LeBron really, I feel like it's not that complicated to build around him. I mean, you just put him with shooters and guys that can just 3-and-D. And it's one of the most simple formulas I think that we've seen in the NBA is how to win with LeBron, but yet the Lakers continue to screw it up. So we'll see what happens. But no, I would keep LeBron. I think he sticks around for at least a couple good years.
Yeah, I mean, he was still putting up like those crazy 50-point games. So, I mean, he's fine. I'm not worried about him just all of a sudden, dying out there, like starting to age in front of our eyes. Like, he's definitely lost a little bit, but he can still put up crazy numbers, and his 3-point shot's not bad anymore. So, I mean, he's got that to lean on. I'd take LeBron for sure.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, Anthony Davis maybe comes back to bite you in the butt. He goes somewhere else, gets healthy, stays healthy, and has 6 good years where he wins a couple championships or something like that. And then it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. You got to brush it aside. That sucks. It happened. But yeah, as of right now, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's Anthony Davis is kind of another guy where it's like, you can only put up with this for so long. I mean, it's different from Ben Simmons because Anthony Davis is, he's trying to play.
Yeah,
he just
unfortunate.
He just unfortunately cannot stay healthy. But that'll do for the first segment. It's pretty long. So we'll throw it to a break here. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the NFL draft, and then we'll eventually get into some Husker talk. You're listening to 96.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. We will be right back.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Husker fans, continue to support the Nebraska softball team during Fan Appreciation Weekend this Friday through Sunday. The team hosts Indiana in a 3-game series with giveaways each day. On Friday, the first 500 fans receive a water bottle. Come out Saturday and be one of the first 500 fans to receive a blanket. And on Sunday, if you're one of the first 500 fans, you'll get yourself a pint glass. For more information on the game, visit Huskers.com. Get your single game tickets now at Huskers.com or call 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go.
Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Call Nebraska Auto Detail today at 402-601-5086.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Hey, batter, 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 wings, splatter, splatter, splatter. Catch all this season's baseball action at one of your neighborhood Lincoln locations. Get League of Their Own wings, burgers, nachos, and ringers while catching all the action. Stop into Wings and Rings located on O Street in Meridian Park and 40th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village. Or place your order online at wingsandrings.com. That's wingsandrings.com, Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, that frog will boil. As a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans, it's a story that rings true. We learn to endure the heat in silence. We apply what we learn to life, the bills, the job, the family, things we're expected to handle with ease. When life heats up around us, we just try to stay afloat. We let the water boil. Reaching out isn't easy, but you've never been interested in easy. You join because you are not afraid of hard work. You are not a frog. If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait until the water boils. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach. Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Cloudy skies, areas of fog and drizzle this morning, then a good chance of showers, maybe a rumble of thunder by late this afternoon. Only topping out at around 55 with a light north wind at 10. Cloudy tonight with a low down to around 48. We should eventually mix in some sunshine by tomorrow afternoon and be much warmer with a high of 66. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning into Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
Back to The Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Ticket Weeknights. I am Carter Longy, joined here by Harrison Arns. Going to be hanging out with you guys here for about another 30 minutes here. And then coming up after that, we're going to have Behind the Game with PJ, Priscilla Joseph, and Rico. Going to be on location tonight. I'll have to check where they're going again. I don't know, Harrison, you remember where they're at?
No, I'm not sure. Is it Mercado? Maybe it might not be them. I don't want to say
it's some type of tavern. Sure. I don't know. We'll look it up though, and we'll make sure you guys all know where they're at, because I believe you can stop by, and say what's up while they're out there. So we'll get you the location on that soon.
I'll text them right now.
Yeah. So next thing though, we're going to talk about is the NFL draft a little bit. Probably go through, talk about some of the first round draft picks. Probably, I mean, that's kind of the ones that everybody kind of cares about the most, right? So we'll go through that, talk about some of those a little bit, and then we can also talk about some of our favorite draft picks, who we thought had the best draft overall, all that good stuff. So we'll go through, talk about it, and we'll just kind of discuss a little bit. So first things first, though, we'll talk about we'll start from the top. So number 1 overall pick was Trayvon Walker out of Georgia. He went to the Jaguars. I don't know. That pick was a little questionable for me. I mean, Trayvon Walker's a guy with a lot of potential. He's got a lot of great intangibles about him. And, I mean, the Jaguars, everybody knew they were going to go with one of the 3 edges. Number 1 overall, it was either going to be Walker, Hutchinson, or Thibodeau. Mm-hmm. And they decided to go with Walker. I don't really know. I still can't decide who I even like the most out of those 3 edges, to be honest. So I can't be too upset with the Jaguars about anything. But, I mean, Trayvon Walker, I guess, I don't know. It's kind of hard to go raw number 1 overall unless you take somebody that's completely outrageous, but yep. I don't think he was that crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would have gone him still, just because I don't know. At Georgia, he was having a lot of one-on-one stuff, so his stats looked really good. But on that Georgia D line, you can imagine he was having plenty of help. So he had good stats, but I mean, probably not my guy for number 1. I honestly, for going that direction, I probably still would take Aiden Hutchinson. He seemed to have, go through a lot more double teams. And still, I think he still had better stats even than him. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't my favorite pick, but I wasn't super, freaked out by it by any means.
So Hutchinson was number 2 going to his hometown Detroit Lions. So great pick for the Lions. I mean, they couldn't have done better than that. I think Hutchinson was definitely the right pick for them. The only reason I had any hesitations with Hutchinson number 1 overall is just I don't feel like he has the highest ceiling as maybe the other 2 guys. I feel like the other 2 guys maybe have more room to, become, the greatest of the greatest. But I mean, that's kind of just looking too far ahead. In terms of the guys who are the best coming out right now, it is Aiden Hutchinson. He's the best player coming out of the draft right now. Sure. So Lions sit out of the park. I don't really think there's a whole lot to say there unless you have something to add.
No, I think that one's that's pretty obvious pick for those guys. You can see why they went that way.
Next 2 picks, I also thought were good selections by the teams, especially number 4. Derek Stingley Jr. going number 3 to the Texans. I thought that was a good pick. The Texans have holes everywhere, so I mean, I think that was just one of the best guys available on the board, and that's who they went with. And then Ahmad Sauce Gardner went number 4 to the Jets. Some people thought that they could have gone somebody else, maybe waited to take him or just passed him up, but I don't know. I think he's a very good player. I think you could make an argument that him or Derek Stingley is the best corner in the draft, so I like that pick as well. Did you have any comments that you wanted to add there?
Yeah, no, I actually think the Texans did pretty okay on that because they've been really bad on getting burned out on those, on those routes just straight up the sidelines. So no, I think that was good. They definitely needed to bolster in the cornerback room. So I had no problems with it. There's some other options out there, but like honestly, this draft overall in that first round was so tough because it's like you really didn't even want to be in towards that front of the draft because it was just like the big names there's not a lot of them. Everyone that looks good, you're probably going to get a lot of pops in the second, third round. So I'm okay with the pick. I really don't know if there's any other cornerbacks I would have taken over it. So
yeah, this was definitely a tough draft. I wouldn't have been to be a GM in this one. If you think that you would have been a good GM or who you would have taken, let us know. 402-464-5685 is the Starter Haven text line. Feel free to text in at any time. Let us know your thoughts on the draft or NBA playoffs, anything in between. Moving on here, though, number 5, the Giants had a great pick, Kayvon Thibodeau. I liked him a lot. I know some people had their concerns with him. Some people thought some things about motor and character, and other people thought that he just doesn't have quite a big enough, frame, not enough muscle, not big enough, whatever. I don't really care. I think he's going to put on enough muscle, and the guy's kind of a freak of nature in terms of athleticism. So I think it was a great pick at number 5. The value, I mean, this is a guy that was kind of the lock to be the one before the college football season even started. So Giants kind of hit it out of the park at 5. And I'll even skip to 7 here as well. Evan Neal at 7 for the tackle for them was great as well. I really liked 5 and 7 for them. And then 6, I guess we'll hit that quick here since we're kind of just in this range. Ikem Ekwonu, tackle from NC State. I probably would have went Evan Neal first if I was the Panthers. So that's why I liked it even more for the Giants. But solid pick as well. I think he was probably the second best tackle in the draft. So
yeah, I like Neal a lot too. I think I probably picked him first overall out of all those guys. But yeah, there isn't a whole lot of jump between those guys when you're looking at them. So I think taking Neal, I would have taken him first. But it's like I said, it's just really tough to get to that beginning. It's like, okay, what's really separating these guys? I mean, you're really just looking on potential for a lot of these earlier guys when you're looking at them.
So now we get to the first wide receiver in the draft, Drake London. Maybe surprised a few people. I think probably more people thought it was going to be Garrett Wilson first off the board. Ended up being Drake London 8th to the Falcons. Falcons had to go wide receiver. I mean, Calvin Ridley's out for the year. And other than that, they got Kyle Pitts, and that's about it. So they got to go wide receiver. Drake London's a solid pick. I would have probably went with him as the second or third receiver. But, I mean, I don't think there's a drastic enough difference where I'm going to, act like the Falcons really messed it up. 9 was Charles Cross, tackle from Mississippi State. That rounds out the top 3. I think everybody thought Cross, Neal, and Ekwonu were the top 3 tackles regardless. So that was a good pick by the Seahawks. They actually traded up to get him. And then number 10 was Garrett Wilson from Ohio State to the Jets. And that started the run on wide receivers a little bit. Well, I guess technically started with London, but then there's 3 in a row. Olave to the Saints, Jameson Williams to the Lions, which I really loved. Great value for the Lions, trading back up to get him. So what were your thoughts on kind of that 8 through 12 range with the 4 wide receivers and then Charles Cross, the tackle?
Yeah, I thought overall, like a lot of those teams probably hit, that you could tell like there's a run of receivers because all those teams that were drafted, they all were weak in that position. So you can kind of tell when they start taking those guys, it's like, okay, here comes the receiver run. Everyone start getting those top picks. I think I really like Olave more going because I think he's got a lot to show. I mean, we were watching him at Ohio State. I mean, he's just an electric player in like open space. He's so good at just getting in those holes and those gaps, especially between those linebackers. And then if anyone's biting, he can always just cut upfield really well. So I like him a lot. I think he's probably going to have a really good career in the NFL.
I mean, one thing that definitely surprised me with the draft, there's a lot of unpredictable stuff going on in this draft. It was one of the least predictable drafts in a while.
For sure.
There's a lot of trades that surprised me. I didn't expect that many teams to trade up. And also the run on wide receivers went a lot earlier than I expected it to. I thought it was going to be a lot further back. Well, not a lot, but I thought it would be more in kind of the mid-teens once we got to about the Eagles at 13. I kind of thought it might start there, or the Ravens at 14, something like that. But no, it actually ended up starting, technically at 8 with London, and then we had 3 more go 10 through 12, so very early there. So 13 was the Eagles picking. They ended up taking Jordan Davis. the big D tackle from Georgia. I thought that was a good pick. That guy's athletic freak. He's just a pure animal. I mean, I don't really know how else to describe it. That guy's fantastic. And then arguably the best pick of the first round, I think, came at 14, was the Ravens getting Kyle Hamilton, the safety from Notre Dame. I think there's an argument that Kyle Hamilton was one of the 3 best players in this entire draft class, and the Ravens got him at 14 without trading. So I thought that was great value for them. Number 15, Kenyon Green, guard from Texas A&M, went to the Texans. Again, Texans just filling gaps where they can. And then 16 was Jahan Dotson, wide receiver from Penn State, went to the Washington football team. So that kind of continues. Again, another wide receiver. But we'll stop there, pause for a second. Harrison, what were your thoughts on that little run there?
Yeah, I thought Davis, I'm surprised how long he actually stayed up there. I thought Davis was going to get taken a lot earlier just because, especially in that college football playoffs, like you got to see how dominant that guy was against elite competition. So I'm surprised he went all the way to as far as he went that late in the draft. But either way, it's a great pickup for the Eagles. I think the Eagles actually had one of the better drafts for as many picks as they had. I feel like they did. I think they only had like only 4 of them, and they didn't have a ton. But what they did, they got Cam Jurgens too. Obviously, that was great for us. But yeah, I think they had a pretty good round with Davis in there too. They definitely helped their defensive line, and then they did the other thing, and they got their offensive line set up with Cam Jurgens later in the draft. So they were looking pretty good, just setting up, getting the foundation ready. And then yeah, for those other 2 guys, I really don't got too many problems with it. I figured those are 2 next obvious guys on the board if you're going that way.
So moving on here, we'll kind of go through these ones a little quicker here as we get further down in the order. Zion Johnson, guard from Boston College, went to the Chargers at 17. Treylon Burks went to the Titans at 18. I guess we'll stop there for a second because this one's definitely worth noting because the Titans actually traded up to get him, and in part of the trade package, A.J. Brown was sent to the Eagles, which was one of the biggest unexpected trades of draft night. There were some murmurs that A.J. Brown would be moved heading to the draft, but he definitely wasn't the hottest name on the market. Deebo Samuel was a guy that was much more prominent that we thought was going to get moved. DK Metcalf, I would say, was also, people thought there was a lot more likely option he'd be moved, but ended up being A.J. Brown on the move. Treylon Burks, funny enough, I believe his pro comparison was actually A.J. Brown. So they kind of they tried to replace A.J. Brown with A.J. Brown. We'll see if Treylon Burks ends up being as good as him. Hard to say. I mean, A.J. Brown's been fantastic. But the Titans did get some picks, and it sounds like they just didn't really want to pay A.J. Brown. They didn't really have the money. So they ended up getting a wide receiver who can maybe kind of try and fill a spot. But the Titans are kind of thin on weapons anyways. So
yeah,
the A.J. Brown getting shipped out the door probably doesn't really help.
Yeah, that one always kind of made me curious. I thought for sure they tried to find a way just to keep as much offensive weapons they had, because last year we saw it happen. It's like, okay, we can't just run Derrick Henry all day. Sooner or later, this guy's going to, Tank's going to go out, and you can't really trust Tannehill that much to get the job done for you. He's just kind of like flashes in the pan every now and then. You see a great game, and you think you got something, but I mean, he was strapped with weapons other than handing it off to Derrick Henry. So I'm surprised they kind of did that. Maybe it was just they didn't feel like he was good enough for that kind of money, but yeah, I'm still kind of surprised they traded up to get that pick, but I'm honestly not a super big fan of it. I think they probably could have just found a way to retain A.J. Brown and maybe get something later in the draft, but yeah.
So number 19 was Trevor Penning, tackle from Northern Iowa to the Saints. Number 20 was Kenny Pickett, the one and only quarterback that went off the board in round 1. I believe he's actually the only quarterback that won the first 2 rounds, right? Yeah. So that was like the first time since 2000, I think, which was actually the year that Tom Brady fell, or it was 1999, whatever. Whenever Tom Brady fell, it's the first time since then, I believe, that has happened, that we only saw one quarterback in the first 2 rounds. So that's pretty crazy. But Pittsburgh, in terms of the quarterback that they picked, I would have went Malik Willis. I liked him more than Pickett. Pickett's more ready to play now and might push Trubisky for the job. But I thought Trubisky was actually fine where he was. I thought they could roll with him for at least a year, and then they hand it off to Malik Willis, who has probably a lot more potential. But I don't know. I won't harp on him too much because Pickett was number 2 for me. I just don't feel like he has as much potential as Willis did.
Yeah, I like Kenny Pickett just because with quarterbacks it's so hard to tell, and like I know he's got small hands. That's what everyone says.
Nah, I don't care about that.
It doesn't mean too much to me. But yeah, I don't know. Kenny, he's just got a good poise to him. I mean, that sounds like just classic football talk, but you watch that guy and he's just a true leader out there, and he's just definitely really consistent quarterback. I think that's what I like most about him. It's like you kind of knows what his mistakes are. So if you can just really work on polishing his weak spots, I mean, he's already really, fleshed out in a lot of other parts of his game. So I like Kenny Pickett, honestly, going first. doesn't quite have the cannon as some of the other guys, but I think he's way more refined in a lot of the other areas.
So 21 was Trent McDuffie, 22 Quay Walker. McDuffie was a corner to the Chiefs. Quay Walker, a linebacker to the Packers. I'm a Packers fan, so I'm going to hit on that really quickly. I'm going to say they took Quay Walker, the linebacker, at 22. They took Devontae Wyatt, also from Georgia, the tackle at 28. Everybody was out of their mind. The Packers didn't take wide receiver. I was happy. The run on wide receivers went way too early than I expected it to. I'm glad they didn't reach. They ended up getting the next wide receiver off the board anyways. So, if they were going to take Christian Watson, that was their favorite receiver, obviously, because no other receivers went until 34. And they got him at 34 instead of 22 or 28. So I'm happy with that. I'll leave it there. I'll move on. Going to kind of rapid fire these last ones before we hit break quick. Kyle Lum was cornerback from Florida, went to the Bills. Tyler Smith, tackle from Tulsa, went to the Cowboys. Tyler Linderbaum, in a trade with the Cardinals, ended up with the Ravens because Marquise Hollywood Brown got shipped out of town to the Cardinals. Jermaine Johnson was a big steal in this draft, I thought. DN from Florida State going to the Jets at 26. Devin Lloyd, linebacker from Utah, to the Jags at 27. We already mentioned Devontae Wyatt to the Packers. The head scratcher, which we can usually expect from the Patriots, and Bill Belichick in the first round. Cole Strange from Chattanooga, the guard, who most teams had a third-round grade on, ended up going 29. So, credit to him. Maybe he'll be a good player, but I feel like the Patriots still could have drafted him. I think they just could have waited till the second or third round.
I think that's what everyone's kind of feeling. It's like, okay, yeah, we get what you're seeing, but you could have waited probably. Like, I don't think anyone else had him on his board anywhere near there. So unless you knew something that everyone else didn't, but yeah, I don't think that was surprising. He definitely would have fell later in the draft. They could have picked him up later.
So then we saw George Karlaftis, the DN from Purdue, 30 to the Chiefs. I like that pick a lot. And then we saw Daxton Hill, safety from Michigan, to the Bengals at 31. And finally, rounded the first round, Lewis Seen, safety, Georgia, to the Vikings at 32. All right, we got to throw it to break really quick. We'll come back and do another segment, and then we'll get ready for Behind the Game with PJ coming up here on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. We will be right back.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Cloudy skies, areas of fog and drizzle this morning, then a good chance of showers, maybe a rumble of thunder by late this afternoon. Only topping out at around 55 with a light north wind at 10. Cloudy tonight with a low down to around 48. We should eventually mix in some sunshine by tomorrow afternoon and be much warmer with a high of 66. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Naloxone is a drug used to safely reverse an opioid overdose and is now more readily available in Nebraska. I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. I encourage you to learn how to respond to an opioid overdose and administer naloxone to potentially save a life by getting the free Opie Rescue app for your phone. Be Opie ready. Download Opie Rescue.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Join us at Cactus by Venue for our new America's Favorites menu. We're keeping your favorite dips and tacos and adding brand new dishes, including delicious steaks, burgers, pastas, and more. Focusing on vibrant casual dining using a blend of fresh ingredients prepared from scratch. Located at 56 and Highway 2 in the Edgewood Shopping Center, see the whole menu online at cactusbyvenue.com and order yours to go at venuedelivered.com. Cactus by Venue, America's Favorites.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Husker fans, continue to support the Nebraska softball team during Fan Appreciation Weekend this Friday through Sunday. The team hosts Indiana in a 3-game series with giveaways each day. On Friday, the first 500 fans receive a water bottle. Come out Saturday and be one of the first 500 fans to receive a blanket. And on Sunday, if you're one of the first 500 fans, you'll get yourself a pint glass. For more information on the game, visit Huskers.com. Get your single game tickets now at Huskers.com or call 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Back to the Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Ticket Weeknights. I'm Carlangi, joined here by Harrison Arns. We've been hanging out here now for almost an hour, but we got about 5 more minutes here to talk a little bit more about some of the NFL draft night happenings, I guess. We kind of covered most of the stuff that we want to cover with picks. We'll run through the Husker picks here quick, but we'll also talk about some of the storylines that we saw on draft nights, or kind of lack of storylines, I guess, that we saw. And then we'll probably get ready to throw it to Behind the Game with PJ, Priscilla Joseph, and Rico are going to be hanging out at the Tavern 180 tonight. So I believe if you want to stop by, you can go swing by there, see what they're up to, hang out for a little bit, and have a good time. So that one's going to be on from 7 to 9. So first things first, I guess we'll mention here the Huskers that did get drafted. Congratulations to all these guys. Cam Jurgens, second round to the Eagles. Cam Taylor-Britt, second round to the Bengals. Hooking up with Zach Taylor, a former Husker, and Samori Toure, 7th round to the Packers. As I just mentioned, I am a Packers fan, and I was very happy with the Toure pick. I thought he was a guy who had like 4th, 5th round talent, and ended up falling to the 7th to the Packers. Undrafted free agents from the Huskers that ended up signing with teams. JoJo Doman signed with the Colts. Austin Allen to the Giants. Those two were both surprising. I was pretty surprised those two getting drafted. I think a lot of people expected the next 3 to sign as undrafted free agents after the draft, but I thought Doman and Allen would go in the draft. Actually, I think in the 5th round, JoJo Doman was like number 1 on Mel Kiper's best available board and just didn't get drafted. So that was kind of odd. But, they still signed as undrafted free agents. So, congratulations to those guys. Also, Damian Daniels to the Texans, Deontay Williams to the Seahawks, and Ben Stilley to the Dolphins. So all those guys, very exciting opportunities. Jurgens and Taylor-Britt obviously are going to have the opportunity to play first.
Yep.
I guess Toure could probably see the field a little bit with the Packers special teamers,
yeah.
And maybe if he has a good camp, he could see the field as a wide receiver as well. Taylor-Britt would probably be getting in the rotation with the Bengals corners right away. He may even start early in the year. And then Jurgens, he's a 2nd round pick. Jason Kelsey is still on the Eagles, so he'll probably sit for a year. But then I assume that he's the planned starter for years to come. I'm assuming there in Philadelphia. So, congrats to all the Husker guys that went through the draft process. Also, one more quick, I guess, Husker football thing that we'll hit. Yay, the Huskers. We got O'Shawn Mathis. We haven't been on since that happened. So that was very exciting to see. Got him over Texas. So congrats to O'Shawn for coming here, and congrats to the Husker coaching staff for getting him, because that's going to be a big piece here coming up. Defensive lineman that can draw constant double teams. It's going to open things up a lot for the other linemen. It's been a while since we've had a premier pass rusher, so
yeah, it's crazy what we
exciting.
can do. Because it was just the week before that, everyone's like, "Oh man, our D line, it looks so thin," and then just like that, transfer portal just started rattling guys out. So really, it's really hard to know in this era of the transfer portal, because our D line just got, it's not perfect yet, but it just got a heck of a lot better in a very short amount of time. So those are great gets for Nebraska.
While we're on the topic of the Huskers, I guess we will mention a couple things here really quick as well before we finish up what we're going to talk about the NFL. I always like to kind of hit the baseball and softball teams whenever I'm on, just to kind of give you an update on what's going on with them. Baseball still under 500, unfortunately, 18-25, 6-9 in the Big Ten. Their past series this weekend versus Iowa, they lost 0-1 on Friday. Kind of a pitcher's duel in that one. They had a great game 1 on Sunday. They won 12-1. Garrett Anglim hit 3 home runs on his first 3 at-bats of the game, all first, second, third inning. They were also his first 3 home runs of his career. So that was very exciting. And then game 2, it was tied 3-3, bottom of the 9th. Well, actually, ended in the 9th, went to an extra inning, ended up losing 3-5. So they ended up going 1-2 and lost the series. Next up, they're going to be playing Minnesota this weekend, starting tomorrow. And then softball, 35-13 overall, 15-4 in conference. They had that big winning streak. They got ranked. People were very excited, and they still are about the team. However, they have struggled a little bit. Their past series versus Ohio State, they lost on Friday 2-6. On Saturday 4-5, and they did win on Sunday in 5 innings, 9-1. But their last 2 series, they have lost. They're 2-4 in total in games. They went 1-2 in both of their last 2 series. So they got knocked off a little bit here, but they get back up against Indiana tomorrow. That series is at home, so go out and cheer on the Husker softball team at Bowling Stadium. It should be a lot of fun. So last thing here before we wrap things up and get out of here, Tyron Matthew signs a deal with the Saints, 3 years, LSU guy. Very excited to see him go there. He gets to go home. He's a guy that's been an All-Pro. He's a Super Bowl champion, and it's a great gift for the Saints.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think that system fits him perfectly too. He's going to have a lot of opportunities, I think, very early on to really have a pretty good, star role in that defensive scheme. So I mean, he should look really good out there. I'm not too worried about it.
Next thing, that's kind of curious. Baker Mayfield, who has been very obviously shopped by the Browns, and I mean, Deshaun Watson's on the team. He should not be on the team. I mean, not only do we expect him to not be on the team, like he just shouldn't be on that team. It's just going to cause problems. Baker Mayfield's still on that team. Not that I know Baker Mayfield has immaturity issues, and I'm not saying that's all on Baker Mayfield. It's kind of on the Browns. They need to just get him out of the building because they just can't have the guy who was the number 1 overall pick, expected to be the franchise quarterback, still on the roster when they just brought in another guy.
Yeah, they're running out of time quick. I'm not sure what their plan is. I mean, you might have to hold on to him for another year or so at this point. I mean, you're really losing your window and your leverage by waiting, and with nothing happening on draft night. Man, you kind of wonder what management's starting to think, what their plan is, because he's got to move. Obviously, you're not going to just have that guy sit on your roster and not play any minutes.
All right, last thing I want to hit here. I know my thoughts on this. I want to get your thoughts really fast, Harrison. Ryan Tannehill says it's not his job to mentor Malik Willis. What are your thoughts?
Sounds like a guy scared to lose his job. That's if I want to sum it up quick.
That's exactly my thoughts. Listen, I get when a guy doesn't want to train the next guy to take his job, right? Because, I mean, who wants to do that? So Ryan Tannehill's obviously the starter right now. He took his team to the playoffs. Malik Willis is a 3rd-round draft pick that was obviously brought in to be the future of the franchise. But for Matt Ryan as a veteran, Ryan Tannehill as a veteran, I just don't think it's a very good look to come out and say, it's not my job to mentor him. If you don't want to mentor him, you can still be a good teammate, and yeah, that's fine. But it's not a good look.
Odd remark for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us for an hour. We used just about every second of it. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed listening. Coming up next, Behind the Game with PJ. Priscilla, Joseph, and Rico are out at the Tavern 180. So stick around 7 to 9. Behind the Game with PJ right here on 92.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.